I'm filming.
What are you filming?
Anything I can see from public.
Right, and is there a reason behind that?
It's for a story.
Right, okay, can I take your details, please?
What would you like my details for?
Because obviously in the interests of public safety and everything like that, when somebody is out filming and having a look around public buildings,
right,
we have a duty of care,
right,
to check you out.
What, a duty of care to whom?
To the general public.
I'm part of the general public?
Yes.
I don't have to give you my details then? Do you?
I'm just wondering why he's filming public buildings.
Yeah, I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can. Hang on, wait a minute. I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can see from a public place, including council buildings that are owned by the public.
Okay, we have concerns about public safety.
And your concerns are?
We don't know who you are.
That's
and what
not a concern.
Links it is.
It isn't.
In the day and age that we are in.
Are you accusing me of being a terrorist?
I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but
do you have reasonable suspicion to believe that I'm up to anything other than?
I don't know what you're up to.
Go on to Google filming in public. It'll and even legislation.
Don't tell me what I need to do.
Right, well, don't tell me that I need to give my details when I know that I don't. Okay? Can I ask you to identify yourself? You haven't got any numbers on your lips?
1,000.
1,000. And name?
Sarah Bainbridge.
And yours?
2629. You're also on body cam.
Yeah, that's fine. And you're based here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm based out of Darlington.
Right, okay, excellent. Hello there.
Oh, yeah, you're all
Hello.
right.
This gentleman is filming. He's now refusing to give any details, and
I'm not obliged to.
I can't understand why he's out filming buildings, council buildings, refusing to give any details in light of the incidents that we're having around the area.
And those incidents, whatever they may be, no concern of mine, nothing to do with me.
But I don't know who you are, and I can't check you out.
Well, you don't need to.
Yes, I do, because I have a duty of care to
I'll tell you what it is, mate. It's anti-terrorism.
There's no terrorist threat at the moment.
But I don't know who you are.
5 years towards any public buildings.
That's a lie, because there was one yesterday actually.
Was there? Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Well,
where was
there
that?
you go.
So where was that?
We don't know.
So here?
Yes, it was actually.
Right.
Yeah, there was one to the council offices as well.
Right. In Darlington.
By an unknown male.
Right.
There was a bomb hoax yesterday.
Was there?
At 11 o'clock yesterday, yesterday morning.
Right.
By an unknown male at one of the council buildings for us that could possibly be you.
Right. Well, that's nothing to do with me. No concern of mine.
How do we know that?
Well, were they stood outside with a mobile phone?
Look, we're not getting into this. I am now asking you to leave the area because I feel that you...
On what grounds?
Because you are alarming the public.
No. Which section of the law? You give me the section of the law, I'll quite happily move.
You just need...
Beg your pardon? I'm just
The camera is already rolling as tension quietly builds with a man calmly asserting his right to film anything visible from a public place, yet officers quickly shift from curiosity to concern, focusing not on what he's doing, but on who he is pressing for details he knows he isn't required to give, and as the conversation tightens, suspicion begins to form without clear evidence until the word terrorism is introduced as a justification rather than a fact, escalating the situation further when another officer arrives and doubles down instead of de-escalating, despite the reality that threat levels don't grant extra powers, and filming alone isn't grounds for suspicion, turning what should have been a routine interaction into a tense standoff where rights, authority, and understanding are all pushed to their limit.
I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to talk to anybody.
That's all right, 'cause we're filming you as well.
That's fine. It's public.
Just stand here
perfectly
until
okay.
you move out of the
It's okay. It's perfectly okay to film in public, which is what I was explaining to your colleague.
I'll just stand here.
You can stand there as long as you want. So apparently there was a bomb hoax yesterday in Darlington. I didn't see anything in the media. However, it might just have been overlooked. The architecture on those buildings is quite similar to those ones. And that's 1903. It's say on the front of this building when this was built. But the architecture, like I say, is quite similar. I know it used to be a school, and stalked by an officer.
You gave me your details, and I could.
Right. So
Happy that there is
my
nothing
details.
untoward.
My details won't give you any other information.
I would like to check you out so that I am happy that
To be stood here
I want
asking.
to know who you are
Well,
to make sure.
I don't have to identify myself, and you're well aware of that. I know the law just as much
Very
as you.
shortly, I will to prevent a breach of the peace.
You can't prevent a breach of the peace
can prevent
if
a breach.
none was going to take place. I'm not breaching anybody's peace.
I have colleagues and members of the council staff who are very concerned about why you are out here filming in light of the incident.
I'm
yesterday.
filming a story. I'm not filming in light of those incidents.
Well,
those incidents
until
weren't even known to me until you made them aware.
Prove or negate either way. All I want is your details to make sure that no members of the public are of threat
They're
by
not.
you. Well,
My details wouldn't give you any more information about that.
people tell me every day
Well,
how good they are.
I'm not saying I'm not saying. Hang on, I'm not saying I'm good. What I'm saying, I'm not denying either way.
Everybody says all the time with interactions with the police. It wasn't me.
That's because
I'm no threat.
That's because your interaction, instead of accepting what I'm doing is perfectly legal, is to cite laws that don't exist. Say that
cited a law that doesn't
you
exist.
told me that you were.
Situation tightens as pressure turns into authority without foundation, with officers insisting he leave while failing to explain under what law, and that's where everything shifts. A simple challenge is made, name the legal power, and he'll comply, but silence follows, exposing the lack of authority, because real powers must be clearly stated, not assumed, yet the demands continue, now shifting toward identifying him, framed as a duty of care even though no law supports it in this context, as filming in public, standing on a pavement, and being unknown to police are not crimes, nor do they meet the threshold for suspicion under any relevant legislation, and in that moment, the encounter reveals something deeper, not just a clash of authority, but a clear line between lawful power and overreach, where knowing your rights becomes the only thing holding that line.
That's a perfectly reasonable request.
It's fine because we've got supervision
do you
coming in.
understand what the current levels of threat at the moment?
Right, if there has been, if there has been a threat yesterday of some sort, then yes, I can understand.
Right. So
But
now you understand.
but I wasn't aware of that until you told me.
Right.
And
So now that's why we need your details.
well, you don't need my details.
Yes, we do.
So do you have the details whoever it was who you spoke to yesterday?
You know what's going to happen, right? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to end up getting arrested.
For what?
Right? Listen, that
For
we're
what?
speaking to our supervision at the moment, okay? Based on the current threat levels and the incident that happened
And now
yesterday,
we'll get an
that
order out.
ended up getting seized, okay, under the terrorism laws, okay?
Your body cameras will also be made public knowledge to me, and I'll use them.
Fine. I want to know.
I just
we wanna
can't
know
see
who
why
you
you're
are.
being
Well,
so obstructive. We'll
I'm not
come
being
along.
obstructive at all.
You are being
I'm
Well,
not
you are.
obliged. No, there's no obstruction, because I'm not obliged by law to give you,
that's
unless
fine,
you
you can fight that in court then.
unless you reasonably assume that I don't need to, because being asked is not an
Listen,
obstruction.
You've asked for our details, okay?
Because I'm as a member of the public, and you've been civil servant, you are legally obliged to give me those details upon request.
You've obviously got nothing else better to do.
Well, but that's my concern, not yours.
Yeah.
Filming is a perfectly legal activity.
Because we don't know why you are filming.
But I've told you why I'm filming, for a story,
A story for what?
for YouTube, for my blog.
Right. So who are you? If
I don't have to identify myself. And you're well aware of the law regarding identification, stop and search powers and procedures.
It's fine. At the moment, my colleagues are on to senior officers so that we can have a power of stop and search to get your details.
Good luck with that. You're detaining me.
I'm not detaining you.
So you just said to me I'm not going anywhere
well,
at the minute.
Listen, where do you intend to go next? Because I'm just going to follow you, right?
That's no concern of yours.
Right, well listen, I'm just going to follow you because we need...
The situation escalates as curiosity turns into control, with the officer insisting on details despite having no clear legal grounds, and when that fails, the threat of a breach of the peace is introduced, not because of any real danger, but because the encounter isn't going their way, yet there's no violence, no disorder, just a man calmly filming and standing his ground. The pressure builds, further shifting into threats of arrest and even seizing the camera under terrorism laws, despite the fact that filming in public is entirely lawful and doesn't constitute evidence of any crime. What's unfolding now is a breakdown in understanding where authority leans on intimidation rather than legislation, and the more it's challenged, the more it begins to unravel, exposing just how fragile it is without real legal backing.
I'll move, quite happily. That's a perfectly reasonable request.
It's fine because we've got supervision
Do you
coming in.
understand what the current levels of threat at the moment?
Right, if there has been a threat yesterday of some sort, then yes, I can understand.
Right. So
But
now you understand.
but I wasn't aware of that until you told me.
Right.
And
So now that's why we need your details.
well, you don't need my details.
Yes, we do.
So do you have the details whoever it was who you spoke to yesterday?
You know what's going to happen, right? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to end up getting arrested.
For what?
Right? Listen, that.
For
We're
what?
speaking to a supervision at the moment, okay? Based on the current threat levels and the incident that happened
And now
yesterday,
we'll get an
that
order out.
ended up getting seized, okay, under the terrorism laws, okay?
Your body cameras will also be made public knowledge to me, and I'll use them.
That's fine. I want to know.
I just
we wanna
can't
know
see
who
why
you
you're
are.
being
Well,
so obstructive. We'll
I'm not
come
being
along.
obstructive at all.
You are being
I'm
You
not
are.
obliged. No, there's no obstruction because I'm not obliged by law to give you
Well, that's
unless
fine,
you
you can fight that in court then.
unless you reasonably assume I don't need to because it wouldn't go to court.
you're being
You'd be looking at a lawsuit. Refusing to give my details when being asked is not an
Listen,
obstruction.
you've asked for our details, okay?
Because I'm, as a member of the public, and you've been civil servant, you are legally obliged to give me those details upon request.
You've obviously got nothing else better to do.
Well, but that's my concern, not yours.
Yeah.
Filming is a perfectly legal activity.
Because we don't know why you are filming.
But I've told you why I'm filming, for a story,
A story for what?
for YouTube, for my blog.
Right. So who are you? If
I don't have to identify myself. And you're well aware of the law regarding identification, stop and search powers and procedures.
It's fine. At the moment, my colleagues are on to senior officers so that we can have a power of stop and search to get your details.
Good luck with that. You're detaining me.
I'm not detaining you.
So you just said to me I'm not going anywhere
well,
at the minute.
Listen, where do you intend to go next? Because I'm just going to follow you, right?
That's no concern of yours.
Right, well listen, I'm just going to follow you because we need to speak to you about what you're doing.
You can follow me wherever you like,
fine then.
but don't tell me that I'm not going anywhere because that's a threat of detainment unlawfully.
Then comes the detention question.
The encounter reaches its peak as the officer pushes for identity while quietly admitting they're still searching for a legal power to justify it, creating a contradiction that's hard to ignore. The tone shifts again, not quite an arrest, but not freedom either, with subtle statements implying he's not going anywhere followed by an admission they'll simply follow him instead, and that's where the line becomes clear. If a person isn't free to leave, they're effectively being detained, whether it's said outright or not. Still calm, still composed, he stands on what he knows, refusing to comply without lawful grounds. What follows is telling: no clear power, no solid justification, just persistence. And in the end, that's what this moment exposes: not authority in action, but authority searching for a reason to exist.